All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Boss Talk. I'm excited for this one. We got our first guest, Amoraa. Amoraa, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah,
It's an honor.
Go ahead and give a little info about yourself. What is it that you do?
So my name is Amoraa J. I'm a singer-songwriter based in LA, and I'm really excited for people to see this new chapter of me. It's a lot different, so I hope y'all vibe with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Welcome.
How long have you been singing for?
Professionally, 3 years, but all my life, basically.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So today we got the perspective of Trump supporter. No, I'm just playing. Glendale's finest.
Thank you. That's better.
The
No, I'm
Hispanic
just kidding.
community, both ways.
Yeah.
Black community and singer. So let's get into it. Go ahead, man. You wanted to.
No,
You
it's
wanted
on
to.
you.
Oh, okay. It's on me. So. We've been doing this thing now where like we start off with a boss talk topic, something that relates to bossing up or just in that area, that realm. And so something that was on my mind was being prepared for an opportunity. Do you want to wait for somebody to come to you and tell you like, hey, I got this opportunity, and then you get on top of whatever it is you need to do? Or should you live your life being prepared all the time? And before I get anybody else's opinion, the saying goes, stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And I live by that. So since you're the guest today, what are your thoughts?
I think that you should be prepared at all times because the opportunity, you just never know when it might come.
Right.
But yeah, I like to live prepared for anything, really. If producer comes up to me and says, show me some of your work, I got to have some songs prepared. So I'm constantly trying to brainstorm, trying to come up with like lyrics, melodies. I have a lot of songs right now currently in the vault.
Right.
So I try to stay prepared as much as I can. I think that everybody should live by that because you never know. You never know. It's very random.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm on that
that's
same
good.
tip. You got to be prepared. Anybody who's looking for an opportunity just to be handed out to them is a loser, in my opinion. So you got to keep it ready, like you said, in the vault anytime. So you're ready with the opportunity. If anything, you make your own opportunities in the world. It's not a handout world, especially in LA, like we talked about in the last episode. No one's handing out anything to anybody. So be prepared and be vicious, be militant, so you can be able to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's always good to be prepared for sure. But if an opportunity comes and you're not prepared, you got nothing to show for it, you better bullshit your way through it.
Right.
And it happens all the time, especially being out here in LA in the industry that we're trying to get into.
Well,
But-
that's the issue in itself too, is that sometimes I think that life works in like cycles that we cannot see. There's like we have our vision, and then God has his plan and the way that he maps things out. And a lot of the times God will like be looking, I mean, first of all, he sees all, but like he's looking 3 months out, and he's like, I know in 3 months I'm going to give you this opportunity and place this in front of you. And what did you do? You looked at everything that the areas you were failing in, your losses, you're probably going into a depression, gaining weight, just getting sloppy, not even being the best version of yourself. And then 3 months pop up, and that opportunity that was, you were destined to receive, now it's appeared. So it's like, what do you do? I think that me personally right now, I'm going through a lot of, God is blessing me in more ways than one. And I know that I'm prepared this time around. You guys know my situation. I had went down. I lost pretty much everything that I had, from being up, from having money, from having everything to not having it. And that kind of like, I hate the word depression. I used to always hate that. That's stupid. That's not even a real thing, right?
Right.
I guess it is, but I don't condone how people just wallow away. But I guess I found myself kind of doing that for some time. And then I want to say maybe over the last year or so, I really just been giving it over to God. Like no matter what's happening, like I was driving on the freeway, got a flat tire, and I was happy. I was like, maybe I was about to get in a car accident or something, and God like stopped that. You never know what it is. I got back on taking care of myself. I focused more on my marriage. I did everything that I could, and then out of nowhere, these opportunities start coming, and I was just thinking like, man, it's crazy, because I'm in the best not the best shape of my life. The best shape of my life was like in my late 20s, but close to it. I'm getting there, you know what I'm saying? So I'm almost in the best shape of my life, or I'm in better shape than I was, 2 years ago. Mentally, I'm in a better place. I speak better. I think better. I'm more disciplined, and it's just like, wow, like this is the way to do it. So we got everybody's opinion. I would advise anybody watching, I don't care what's going on. I don't care if somebody passed away in your family. I don't care if you just ended a relationship, you got fired from a job, you thought an opportunity was going to come for you and that door didn't open. You just need to stay positive, stay ready, because when the right one comes, you don't want to be over there, like he said, like off, So from that topic, now that you guys know how to be a boss, I want to get opinions on basically, are you guys familiar with the terminology of like traditional man, traditional woman, modern man, modern woman? Like, what are your takes on this? Have you heard this before?
Yes, I've heard of it. And the man should be the head of every single household.
All right, so we're gonna go to Max last.
Facts.
You've heard of this?
Yeah, I mean, I have. For me though, my opinion, I feel like it needs to be an equal in the relationship.
But what is your? I'm sorry, Max. What is your definition of like traditional? Like what separates traditional from like modern to you?
Traditional is like the man leads, the man takes care of the money, the man takes care of the job, the wife stays at home, does the cooking, does the cleaning, and doesn't even handle the bills. For me, I don't agree with that at all. But that's traditional for me. And then modern, there's just so much going on, because you have men still trying to be that way, but then you have women like being women empowered, and then they're trying to be more masculine, but then it's difficult to say as far as modern. There's just so much going on right now, but I could give you your thoughts on what I feel is right in a relationship.
Right. Well, and I'm not even necessarily saying relationship wise. I just mean the role of a man or a role of a woman, period. Like even outside of a relationship, even somebody who's single. What I'm saying pretty much is, for me personally, when I hear like modern or traditional, there are labels that people are throwing onto it, but I think one of them is acceptable and one is not. I feel like the traditional man or woman, and I'd like to replace that word with mature. That's how I see it. I see somebody who's fitting into that label as somebody who's handling whatever they need to handle for the long run. They're not thinking about like now what's right in front of them. They're thinking about overall. When I hear modern, I usually think of somebody who's just thinking about fun. What's fun for me? What's good for me like right now? I feel like I would relate that more to like selfish versus selfless. That's how I see it.
Okay, I thought you were going
but
more
that's
towards
that's
the route
my
of a
that's my
relationship.
opinion. That's my opinion. I mean, even in a relationship too. I think that it applies in a relationship too. I think that traditionally, a man or a woman would be more selfless, versus modern. It seems like everybody's for themselves. To me.
Very selfish, true. But I want to hear what you said. You had your thoughts on the relationship and how you think it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it needs to be equal in a relationship in
How
today's
so?
world. Like the traditional aspect of it is like I said, you have the man who's just working all day, and then he takes care of the money. The wife doesn't take care of no money whatsoever. She doesn't even see what's in the books, basically. She stays at home, she cooks, she cleans, she takes care of the kids. But I think a relationship is stronger if it's equal parts of it. Like, even for me growing up, my parents taught me how to cook, how to clean, how to handle a yard, how to work. I used to go around the neighborhoods cleaning yards, cleaning cars for money, stuff like that, And for me in a relationship, I feel like it should be more equal, basically. You got to have both the man and the woman incorporate for the relationship, bro, where it's like a man shouldn't just have to be providing. A woman could provide as well. A woman shouldn't just have to be the one that cooks and cleans. A man could cook and clean as well.
And what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, I never thought of it like that, being more selfish nowadays. But I do like some aspects of still being traditional. Like, I still believe in like marriage and then kids and then moving in. So like with that, I kind of do agree on that. But, as like a modern day woman now, I feel like I have to have a job. I have to have my own bread. I have to be able to provide for myself. Like, I can't depend on a man to provide for me, like, financially. But I still do think that, like, the man should take care of, like, most of the bills, not all the bills, but most of them. And, like, you know, like, work around the house. Like, I would hope that, like, my husband is, like, fixing it or taking care of it at least. And then, you know, I'll do the cooking. But, like, also, like, I hope that he also, like, cooks for me some days. But, yeah, I think it's, like, a balance. It's a balance. So I do agree with, like, some traditional aspects, but I also really agree with, like, the more modern aspects as well.
I think that there needs to be a leader of the house, however it may be. Nowadays, there are women that are way smarter than men, in my opinion. If the woman is smart enough and has a better critical way of thinking, then let her lead the house. If the man's able to be the better critical thinker, let him lead the house. So I'm like a traditional modernist. I'm like in between the both. But I still believe, regardless if the man leads or doesn't lead, he needs to pay for the house. He needs to fix everything in the house. He's still, like, that's where my traditional parts come in.
Yeah.
You got to work. You need to be the type of man that your woman, if she wants to or she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to work. Regardless, that's how I think. The woman needs to be living in paradise. If paradise for the woman is that she needs to go work or she has a passion and whatever it may be, regardless if it's music, being in law, being a clerk, whatever the hell she wants to be, if she wants to do it, she should be able to pursue it without the man being like, no, my wife ain't about to go outside and do no work, this and this and that. So that's why I say there's a balance. Now, do I think the man should cook and clean? No. Do I think he should cook once in a while when he feels like it on the grill? Sure. I think that's where my traditionalist values come in. Like, he should fix the stuff around the house. A fan breaks, he's going to fix it. They got guests coming over, someone got to grill the patties, the man's is going to grill the patties. So it's a good balance of both, but at the end of the day, if your wife is smarter than you, I believe that the wife she should be making the calls. If you're it just depends on who's a smarter person in that household. Who's smarter, let them make the choices. If you're the dumb one, let it be the opposite. If you're the smart one, then run it, type thing. So mine's like a nice balance of both too.
Yeah, I feel like I know you're single and you're single, right? Yep. I don't know, are you okay? Yeah. So I'm the only married one here. But I've been where you guys were at one time, back when the dinosaurs were still walking the earth. But
according to Max.
Yeah, according to Max, when they were still using muskets and bayonets. But
it's not my fault. You're like 67, bro.
I know, right? 74. But anyways, I like to just advise people all the time of think about like where you're gonna end up at. And we started off talking about being prepared, and so like you don't want to get to the finish line per se, like the person, you find the person that you want to have, and you are not that type of person yet who they require, right? Because I'll put it to you like this: do you want to marry a little girl? And no. I don't mean a young girl, I mean a little girl. No,
I get what you mean. No, not at all.
Do you want to marry a little girl? No,
I don't want to marry an immature girl. Yeah.
Do you want to marry a boy? No. And so with that being said, no man wants to marry a little girl. No woman wants to marry a little boy. Exactly. So it's like you need to be moving in a manner of discipline like now. And that's what I don't see in society. And that's what really like depresses me. Like when I get on like social media and I see these like celebrity relationships that people glorify, and it's like nothing but like immaturity. They're not exhibiting the stuff that we saw like with our grandparents or parents or whoever, you know, our elders. And I know that I wasn't even doing that, bro. Like I wasn't doing it, and I thought I was doing a great job until I really like buckled down. And now I look back and I'm like, man, I was terrible. Like the whole, you know, my whole marriage was not in the right place because the priority for me was like, what's fun? Like not realizing that first of all, my wife is my best friend, you know, and like that's like before anything we were friends first. And I'm over here, like, if you're trying to spend time with your homies and whatnot, then you're making them, like, your closer friends. And it's like, well, first of all, clearly there's some things she could do for me that they can they could never. So we need
I would hope so.
Yeah. It's a guarantee, you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's a guarantee. We don't know. You already knew what it was.
Max, I'm sitting next to you, so I don't know.
So, but I'm just saying that You focus on what it is that you do have in front of you, and you learn how to like cherish and appreciate it. They always say like you don't know what you have till it's gone. A lot of the times you'll be experiencing a lot of things. I've experienced jobs, I've experienced positions in life, all types of things that I thought like, oh man, I'm tired of this, or I'm on to the next. And then after some years passed, I look back and I'm like, man, I really had it good. Like,
Right.
what was I really doing? So the whole reason I bring up this topic is just I think that people need to look in the mirror and ask themselves. They're always looking at everybody else trying to point a finger over here like she's not a woman, he's not a man. But when you look in the mirror, do you feel like a man? Do you
Right.
feel like a woman? Like when you reflect on yourself, do you even reflect
Right.
on yourself? Because I know we don't. You do not do it. So
Yeah, you definitely need to work on yourself before you get into a relationship for
For sure.
Because you see all these people, right? And like you see someone get out of a relationship, okay, and they'll move on from that relationship within a matter of 6 months. It's like, no, you gotta be broken
or
up.
before the relationship even
Yeah,
ended.
before exactly, bro. It's huge.
Definitely.
A lot of times, the person that moves out of when the person gets out of a relationship, they move on to somebody else. Usually, that's the one that's unfaithful. And they've already planned it first. And this goes for both men and women. It happens all the time. But I see it where they'll get into a relationship, and then they'll be in another relationship within just 1 year. They're in 2 or 3 relationships, and then you see all their posts on Instagram and whatnot, like, "Oh, I'm healthy. I'm a independent person." It's like, no, you're not healthy because you can't hold a relationship for a year, let alone. And then you're not independent because you obviously need somebody by your side every single time. But you got to give yourself time to heal once you get out of a relationship. Like for me, I feel like you need at least 2 years. You need that year to
Whoa.
get over someone, or you could get over them before a year for sure. But then you need at least another year to just focus on yourself, physically, mentally, spiritually, your career. You know.
Yeah. And to piggy off of that, like, I think that a lot of times when we get into relationships, we start shaping ourselves to be somebody that we're not for the person.
Right.
And then, like, I feel like it does take a little bit to heal from that because you're kind of rediscovering yourself in a way. Like, what do I really like? What do I not like? Like, who am I really? I think that I've done, like, a lot of reflection or
Yeah.
reflecting after, like, getting out of relationships. And I do take my time to get into another relationship. And for me, like, it takes a lot for me to even be interested in somebody, let
Right.
alone. But I think that it is important to love yourself
Absolutely.
before loving somebody else.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because I hate that phrase.
And I hated it too, but that's
I
fact.
hate it. I'm gonna tell you why.
Why do you hate
So
it?
I hate it because, all right, so just to rewind just a little bit on some of the things you said. So I agree with you that you get into a relationship and you start to change into something for the other person. It's not necessarily a bad thing. The bad thing is not looking at who that person was, but before you start to change for them, right? Because a lot of the times what will happen is we'll get out of a relationship and we'll be like, that person was this or they were that, but they were that whole time. But we didn't take the time to vet this person properly. So I think that that's one issue that we have today is people not taking the time, slowing down, like don't be so fast with people so that they could really show you who they are.
Yeah.
Right? Like some people are the best person ever on day one, but after a month you're like, this person is dumb. Like
Yeah.
they're lazy, they're self-centered or whatever, you want to say. But if you find a person who checks off all of the boxes for you as far as like what you would consider like good characteristics, then I think it's okay to change into something for that person because if it's a mutual thing, right? You know what I think is the funniest thing that women do all the time, from my experience. I can't speak for you. Have you ever seen a girl like she's with one dude and he's like a Patriots fan, so she's a Patriots fan?
Oh my God, all the
and
time.
then when that relationship ends, her next dude is like,
a Niners fan.
and so now
or-
she's a Niners fan, right?
Yeah.
There's really nothing wrong with that. That's actually like how it should be. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
be like, you're coming over here, like you're doing the things that I like. And as men, I feel like it should be vice versa too. Like, you need to learn the woman and learn like what she likes and change. I have changed myself for my wife. But
Yeah.
what I noticed is that when you're sincere in that, your partner's going to change back for you. And then instead of me needing to love myself, I'll let her love me. I'll love her. She gets all of my love. I don't worry about me. I don't try and take care of me at all because I know she has me. And that's, I think, the way they're supposed to be done. And honestly, it's funny too, because I would tell her the same thing, because she would be like, you need to love yourself, and me and her would argue about this as well. And I'm like, you don't need to. If you're putting it out, it should be coming back to you as well. These are just my thoughts.
I think Amoraa meant like just be more content with yourself and where you're at in life, right?
Yeah,
You gotta be proud of who you are. You know, be proud of your career. Be proud of what you are as a person before you get into a relationship.
And just to clarify, I don't think that changing for somebody is a bad thing. I don't think so, because even in my past relationship, I changed a lot.
Right.
But I still implement that still today.
But when you leave, I definitely understand, like, then you got to kind of like wash that away, right? Because you're not there for that person no more. So then
it's more for myself.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and the things that like I changed for him about are like things that actually bettered me.
Okay.
So in a way, like I think that like
It was a win-win.
it was a win-win.
Like what bettered you?
Like better eating habits.
Okay.
Financially more aware of things. You know, like these are things that I kind of like implemented into my lifestyle now. But there's other things that you change for another person that I don't think are necessarily like okay. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that all the time. When you're changing for somebody, it's a bad thing.
No, I think you're right. And I definitely see it that way. And I guess you're right. I agree with you on that, because like I said, if you're doing it for the right reason, then you should be getting the correct results no matter what. No matter, even if the other person is not reciprocating. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Anybody else on this?
I just want to know, how could you love someone without loving yourself first? I just want you to elaborate on that, because
I don't think
aren't you putting too much pressure on the one that you love for her to give all that love that you're missing out also that you can give to yourself?
No.
You get what I'm saying?
I understand you, and I'm going to answer. It's the same way that we have faith in God. It's like, are we putting too much pressure on God to take care of us when he tells us he's going to take care of us?
You can't equate
You
a
always say
woman
what
or
I
a man
can't
to
do.
God.
Yes, I can, bro. Yes, I can.
And listen, anything's possible for you, brother. But you get what I mean. But you get what I mean. You're saying God, and it's our wife or our husband or whatever it may be.
It's the God body. So a marriage is not a
image of
marriage.
God?
No, it's the God body, meaning like a marriage is not between a man and a woman. A marriage is between a man, woman, and God. And that's the part that people forget about. There is no marriage without God.
I agree with that.
So my point being is that if you follow his instructions on how you are supposed to be in that relationship, I'll put it to you like this right here. If I go work at a job, right, I don't never look at it like my boss is actually paying me. I look at it like God is forcing my boss to pay me, so long as I'm living accordingly to how I'm supposed to be. I never look to my boss. I don't pray to my boss and be like, boss, please give me a promotion. But I do pray to God, and then promotions come, you know? So I always take everything to the higher power, even when I have in the past had issues with my wife, right? If I ever felt like she was lacking in an area, which my wife is perfect, she doesn't lack anywhere. But if I did feel like she was lacking, right, of course we talk about it, but primarily I would pray about it, and I would have the patience to see the change come about. And I can tell you, and she could tell you too, in both of us, there's been a lot of change. That's the way that we're supposed to be living our lives, is with that faith. We can't sit back and like, no, I need to see it first. Because that's when you'll see no change. If the other person is waiting for you to do something first before they determine who they are, then they're not going to change, and vice versa. And so that's what I told myself in my relationship. I'm not going to wait for my wife to start correcting these things and use that as an excuse to be a trash person myself. Like, well, I got these things about myself I need to correct, but I'm not going to do it until she starts doing something. Like, no, you represent yourself. So I guess in a sense, that would be the love for yourself. If you want to think of it like that, I love myself enough to be on point, but I don't do things for myself. Nothing I'm doing is for myself. It's always for the benefit of other people nowadays. When I speak, I try not to cuss, because I don't want to cuss around you guys, because I want to show you somebody who can say what they're trying to say without cussing. That's for the benefit of you, right? If I am around my wife and I do things, I do it in a way that it benefits her more than it would benefit me. And I would hope that if I'm leading by example, then she'd be like, man, he's really doing all this stuff for me, so let me extra take care of him. And then we all win, you know what I mean? So that's how I see it. If that answered your question, or did I not?
It did in ways, but essentially you're putting your faith upon God more so, from what I'm understanding, because you're saying it's the relationship is between Christ, the wife, and the husband, right?
Right.
So that love and faith you're putting in is towards Christ, and you're receiving it vis-a-vis your wife.
No, yes. Okay.
By
First
also
of all,
loving yourself.
no. The Bible says to a husband is to love his wife the way that he would love his own body.
That's what I was saying in the beginning.
Right, but I just put all the love there. So the way that you would think
by
that
loving
you would,
yourself first, though.
No, I don't have any love for me. I don't know. That may be weird to hear, but when people ask me that, I don't love me. I don't care about me. I don't, like, when I wake up, I don't think about me. I think about where my kids at. What do my kids need? What does my wife need?
Facts, but shouldn't you love yourself enough to know that I gotta love
Well,
myself
you
and
know
maintain myself so much
do-
for these kids, for my wife, so I'm always there for them. And that's a level of love you gotta have for yourself always.
Exactly, but it's always for them.
Exactly, but it starts from you though. It doesn't start from them. You're the one who's bringing
How
it out,
so?
exuding that. Because if you don't love yourself, bro, like, let's say if somebody who smokes 8 packs a day, and I'm not talking about myself.
I was about to say.
I'm just saying somebody
Max
who
is out there
smokes
smoking a whole pack.
somebody who
before this
smokes
podcast.
multiple packs a day, or they're just doing, okay, let's make it a worse example. Someone who does bad drugs, right? But they also want to maintain a wife, and they're not loving themselves. So they're putting themselves in a position where they're losing years, days. As much as you want to love them,
that's also
I
being
go crazy.
selfish, though.
Yeah, and
That's being selfish because they want to feel a certain way during that drug instead of being there for their.
But
wife and kids.
JB, he's putting this is coming to his point. You're still putting all that as someone who's, let's say, he's like a drinker, not an alcoholic, but he likes drinking, but he knows it's a problem. For an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he goes crazy for his kids and his wife. He'll do everything for his kids and his wife, right?
Of course.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then in that same context,
But he doesn't have the love for himself.
But you're in the hypothetical example, use a literal one. So then, like, let's talk about it. Do I do drugs? Do I sit around and be lazy? Do I am I a cheater?
No, I wasn't even bringing it up upon you. It's the fact of, do you love? You have to love yourself first to be able to do these things.
But this is coming from a person. I'm telling you, I have no love for myself. I don't.
I think you do, brother. I think you do. Honestly.
I'm glad it appears that way, right? Like,
do you think he loves himself?
I love you, bro.
He loves
Thank
himself.
you.
Do you think he loves himself?
Wait,
I think you love yourself.
do you see what I'm
brother.
saying? I don't gotta have love for me because they got it for me. That's my point. I don't gotta think about me. All of my love is going out.
I think what you're saying is like you're selfless, right?
Yeah.
In a way.
I'm trying to be. I'm a human, but I'm trying my best version, because nobody's perfect, to be selfless. And I think that is what the goal should be. Because if everybody was selfless, then it's almost like me saying, I don't need, like, there's food over here. I don't need to feed myself. I'm gonna pick up a piece of this food. I'm gonna give it to somebody else. Well, if everybody in this room said the same thing, we would all eat.
Mm.
Okay, so question. You said you don't love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care about yourself?
I don't hate myself. I think that, like, to me, the word love is like I get what you guys are saying, but I think it's just more so a definition of the word that we're using, like, and which I don't like to use because people put labels on things, and I see it in society. So I don't.
Right.
It's kind of hard to answer, but it's like I just don't think about me whatsoever, because I can't do nothing for me. I'm not. There's nothing I can do for me. That's how I see it.
If you ask me, being selfless is the greatest love anybody could have for themselves, bro. So there you go.
Right, and then it's just
So
an
you do
opinion,
got
it's an
love for
opinion,
yourself.
right? Like,
There we go.
yeah, but it's like I just don't. I got into a car accident today, right?
Glad you're okay.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, it was a fender bender. It's like I got shot today.
We're still
It was a BB gun. You know
Super
what I'm
soaker.
my little nephew came out with the
saying? The
Nerf gun
slingshot,
real
yeah.
quick.
No, but I'm just saying, like, my thoughts were like, damn, I hope the other person's okay. You know, before I check my car, I'm like, is their car okay? You know, especially it was an old man too. But that's what I mean. Like, before I'll give something to somebody else before I'll take it myself, because I don't need to be there for me. God is there for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as long as I'm, following his instructions that he has left for us, then I'm one of his favorite children. So I don't got to worry about nothing. That's just my point of view on things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when I was halfway doing it, right, like we spoke about in the first episode, I was really talking about myself, which is like, yeah, I believe in God. Yeah, like, I know this is wrong, that's right, but I'm still going to do this from time to time. I'm still gonna break this and I'm still do that, but at least I'm not doing that thing. But you know what I mean? That's
Right.
like being halfway. So nowadays, man, I've come so far, and just realizing the discipline that I need to have, and it's been so much easier. Things that I thought that I was never gonna be able to refrain from, it's like easy. Like in these last 2 years of my life, I've like cut off so many different addictions and
Right.
recreational sinning that I used to do
Because of the love for yourself.
because of my love of God.
Who's somebody who hates themselves, bro? You think they would have these
But I
traits
never
that you're
said
mentioning?
I never said that I hate myself. I just
Not
said,
you,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm bringing up an example.
Well,
Someone
yeah,
who
if somebody
doesn't like
hates
themselves,
themselves.
someone who doesn't care, even to be selfless, even to help the other person. You think they would have these same traits you're saying? And this is all coming from the teachings of the Bible, the Word of
Yes,
God.
I do, and I'm gonna tell you why. You look at somebody who's like a great leader in a community, right? I think that a person that became like that is because they stopped caring about themselves and they started thinking about how this would affect others. So there are things that I want to do that I would consider fun or whatever. But now I'm thinking about how I'm affecting somebody else. If I cheat, right? I'm thinking about how am I affecting this woman that I'm cheating with. I'm not just thinking about how am I affecting my wife. I'm also thinking about how I'm affecting my wife. How is my cheating going to affect my children? How is it going to affect my grandmother, my aunt, the people in my life who swear that I'm this good guy and everything, and I'm really not. And then also how am I impacted? Because I feel pretty high about myself, right? Like that's different. Like I think that I'm intelligent. I think that I know this for a fact that like my energy, I can attract people to me like extremely easily. Then it's to a point where like, dang, like am I taking advantage of somebody? You know what I mean? Like that's how I view it these days. Before I didn't think of it that way because I was thinking about me. What did I want? But now everything that I do is like, if I'm talking incorrectly, I feel like I'm being a bad example, and I just don't want to be a bad example. I don't want people to look at me and think like, well, that guy said he believes in God, he's a Christian, and he's doing this and this, so I should do it too. All right, it's okay. So I don't do anything for me. Everything that I do, I try and do it in one way or another for somebody else.
But we can agree to disagree. I think that there is love for yourself. You
just-
do what you
yeah,
gotta
just-
do, but for sure that
You know what?
you can
Who
keep
are you,
saying
Max?
you're-
Tell us who you are, Max, so I can just tell you ain't that.
I am an
you
avid
are not
supporter
that
of
guy.
Donald Trump,
Oh
coming
my
from
God.
Glendale,
He's
California.
the biggest
EO
Harris
Caesar Chavez.
supporter.
No, right now we're gonna have to bring up because you brought
Go
up
ahead.
leaders, so I gotta
Go
bring this
ahead.
topic up since we have two representatives from Mexico, down here, out here. Where's
Are
your
you, wait
family
a
from in
second, are
Mexico?
you even Mexican or?
I'm Mexican Belizean.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
making sure though, because he
Lions.
just likes to throw stuff out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Bro, don't listen to
He
Jevon,
didn't
bro.
even check.
Jevon
Yeah,
just,
did you
I
even
did
fact
check.
check?
Like
Yeah,
we got
yeah,
the Russian
yeah.
here. No, just like we're throwing random.
Hey, hold up. I do got Russian in my blood, but
Exactly, I
that
knew
doesn't
that
matter
though.
right now.
I kn-
But you didn't.
Go ahead.
You
Well,
tried to.
two Latins make a right.
What part? There you go. What part of Mexico is your family from?
They're from my mom's side's from Sonora, and then my dad's side's from Sinaloa.
Nice. Well, do you know where your fam comes from, Mexico?
My dad's from Guanajuato.
Nice. That's more south.
Try to pronounce that, Max.
Say it again.
Guanajuato.
Guanajuato.
Okay, good job.
I can sing. What's that one song? What's that one singer? Vicente Fernandez.
Uh-huh.
I can sing Para Siempre right now.
Bring
for
up the
whole
beat.
Do it.
No.
Dale más un buen amor. Don't get me started right now, but we can do it easily. Don't, bro. If I were to talk Spanish, I'd be like, damn, bro, this homie's Mexican, dog. Straight up, he's a perrito. But listen, that's not the point. The point is Caesar Chavez. So I thought I thought the Mexican people love Caesar Chavez, but I'm finding out now that the younger generation of my Mexican brethren and sistren, the compas, the compasitas, they're against Caesar Chavez. So my
Yeah,
Latino,
well, you try calling me Caesar Chavez,
which I would think would be a
That's
compliment.
gotta be racist.
Which would be a compliment. It's
I'd
not
rather be
racist.
called El Chapo than Caesar
There you
Chavez.
go.
El Chapo does stuff
okay,
for his
bro, that's
people,
crazy. When can we do those call-ins, bro?
Bro, he does stuff for his people. That's why.
Okay, okay. So I want you
that's
guys.
about it. Other than
I want
that-
you guys to bring up the points. Like I want to talk about it. So
But
I'm coming as somebody who's obviously not Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
but so I want to just understand why. Because when I spoke to some elders, which I'll get to after I hear what you guys think about the whole Caesar Chavez situation,
Mm-hmm.
I heard something completely different from what people I'm hearing that are around our age.
Uh-huh.
Like it's very different, and it's from Mexicans. It's from people who actually lived through the times, unlike the people of our age who didn't live through that time.
Gotcha.
So just what's your whole like
So,
understanding?
well, what it
of
was
that?
is that Caesar Chavez, he was for the farmers. Okay, so he did a lot of stuff for the farmers. But when the Mexican immigrants started coming over here, he literally called them wetbacks, and he wanted them to go back because it was ruining the stuff for his community as far as farmers go, because they were willing to work for a lower wage.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add on to that, or do you?
No, I think that's very like simplified of like what
that's a
it
simple
is.
way.
So I watched the. Is there anything you want to say? Because I want to be inclusive to our brethren from the.
For the black delegation.
Yeah, for the
We're gonna sit this one out.
our black correspondent does not want to take any answers.
Max,
but
you could tell us what you found on Wikipedia.
It's not Wikipedia. I talked to like educated older people who were Mexican who've lived through this, unlike you.
What taco trucks did you go to?
No taco trucks, brother. I went to Taco Bell.
Oh,
I'm
no,
kidding.
you got
Taco
the
Bell is
white-
not
you got the
real
wrong
Mexican.
ones,
Yeah,
bro.
that's the worst Mexican food. But even though Taco Bell is fire, anybody who has an issue with Taco Bell can see me outside. But bro, from what I understand, he understood labor economics very well. And when he used the term wetbacks, I watched all 3 of the interviews where he used the term wetbacks, and he's not saying in the context that he's using wetbacks. And we need to remember in the 1970s, bro, people weren't as sensitive as they were now. When they would use Martin Luther would use the N-word when he would speak of his own people also.
No, he
So it's
said-
but it's the context
I'll
of how he's
touch on that
using
later.
it.
You're
But-
stepping
Hold
out of
on,
context right
No,
now.
I'm not stepping out of context, bro. It's because the context of what he's bringing, of the way he's saying it. So when he's saying, for example, right, the wetbacks are coming over, he's saying it as in illegal immigrants. I doubt he means it in any way to disrespect the Mexican community. And if you understand labor economics and what he was in, yeah, illegal immigration was messing up that stuff. That's why he went against the illegal immigration, right? Because it's if you're doing a strike on grapes, which he did for the Hispanics, and he did something even bigger than the Hispanics, because whites were getting involved, Filipinos were getting involved, all these races were getting involved to help. So at the end of the day, he was not only helping the Mexican race, but he was strong enough as a human to help the human race. People in this situation, again, this is my opinion. You guys can disagree, agree. This is just from the the research I've done on this topic. So as a labor economist, somebody who understood that if I'm doing a strike on grapes and I walk out to do this strike on grapes, and now these farmers that own the grape farms are bringing in illegal Mexican workers and exploiting these Mexican workers, giving them even cheaper wages than they would give the Mexican Americans, he would talk about the exploitation on both sides. So now the Mexican Americans are being exploited and the illegal immigrants are being exploited.
Yeah, but I mean, for everybody else, it was like he's doing it mainly just for the labor work, you know? He's not doing it for the Mexican people. That's why a lot of Mexicans don't agree with him, because he was just doing it for the farmers. He wasn't like a Mexican activist.
I don't know, because, yeah, he wasn't that's true, I agree with that. He wasn't an illegal immigration advocate or an advocate for Mexicans, but why did he start doing what he did in the farms? It's because, let's just be honest, a big percentage of the farm workers are Mexicans, right? Am I wrong on that?
No,
I'm not wrong on that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he did it for the
sure.
farmers.
So-
He didn't do it for the Mexicans, and that's where it goes into play.
I just want to clear something up really quick.
Now you can speak for the black
you wanted
delegation.
to bring in Martin Luther King, right?
Hey, I love Martin Luther King too, bro.
I do too,
He's
but-
an inspiration to me.
You ain't never, and I just want to clarify if anybody didn't understand, you may have heard him use the term Negro.
That's what I was saying.
You ain't never heard him say nigga.
I never said that, but I didn't
But
want to say that term,
that
so
would've-
that's the
but
term I
that's-
meant.
okay,
It's just
so-
black and Spanish, dog.
Yeah,
I'm
but if a
just-
white guy said that, okay,
No,
but
no,
that's
no,
for the
no,
Spanish,
no,
and for the
hey,
white person to say that in today's world.
Right, but we were talking about Martin Luther King, who is not and no longer with us, rest his soul.
R.I.P.
But during that time, that was okay. And I also I would like to say
Just
this.
like how they would
'Cause
use
I- 'cause I
wetback
didn't-
back in the day in the 70s, bro. It wasn't as of a like a
Well, you
would say
okay?
derogatory, like
when
a
you say
derogatory
that,
term.
when you say that, right, that's not a term that's used towards your people. So has that ever been an okay term to you?
No.
Has that ever been an okay term to you?
No.
Did you guys live in the 70s? This is
Did
what I'm
your-
asking.
Wait a second.
Again, I'm
Did your-
asking.
Were your I know, I understand. Were your parents alive in the 70s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Are either of your parents okay with that term? To your knowledge,
No.
are either your grandparents,
No.
uncles, aunts, anybody that you know that's older?
This does not prove a point though, bro, because times change.
Anytime I prove a point, I don't prove a point. The point that I'm making is that there's certain terminology that was like never good, right? And then there was terminology that was accepted during that day and age. So, for example, like
So
the
for
word,
Martin Luther to say that word
I'm
is
try-
it's fine, but for
I'm
Caesar
trying to tell
Chavez to say it, that's racist. That's totally racist.
I'm trying to tell you. Just give me just 2 more
Bro, because I
seconds.
know where you're going with this, and I just
So then
again,
let me get there. Meet me
y'all
there.
are the Mexicans. I don't want to like push it too much, but I just from what I'm understanding, this is what I'm getting from it on like a talking to older people, and yeah, we're making the jokes taco trucks, but I have a lot of elders that are graduated doctorate degree Mexicans. So when I told them, they're like, wait, a Mexican told you doesn't like Caesar Chavez?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I lived through these times, bro.
But you know what's funny about that is that they act shocked about that. Whoever you talk to is shocked about that when they should be knowing if they're in connection with their people. Like, for example, it'd be like somebody come to me. It would be like somebody coming to me and being like, you know that there's black people who are Donald Trump fans, and I'm like, there's a black person that's and it's like I didn't already know. Like you should know that there's
obviously he knows people don't like it. That wasn't what I was getting.
No,
at.
But what I'm saying is that there's a divide, right? And nobody actually represents this or that, but there is a large, to my understanding, from when because I barely found this out a couple of months ago. I actually didn't know this either, so I thought that Caesar Chavez was loved by everybody Hispanic, but I barely found out there's a large group of Hispanic people who are not messing with Caesar Chavez, and there's just no way around that. You know, they have their opinions of it, just like you and I are both American. Or, excuse me, everybody in this room is American. But we all have different views about different policies and different politicians or leaders. So it would be the same thing when you break that down on a smaller scale culturally, too. So I can understand where somebody Hispanic would, be a fan of Julio Cesar Chavez, and I can also understand why somebody Hispanic wouldn't be. But jumping back to Martin Luther King, right?
Which I agree with. That last thing you just said, I agree with. Yeah, we're not going to sweep past it. Yeah, let's talk about it. But I just explained my point on that. Because whatever you're going to say is like, my point is still...
No, I'm just saying, like, that's not comparable because at the same time, you have to look at leaders like MLK and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, or the long list of, African-American civil rights leaders and activists, just everybody that was black that was trying to lead my people to a better place. During that time, the proper terminology was Negro, right? You had the Negro League. But it's almost like when you address somebody, right, it's also the tone you use with somebody, you could tell, right? Where even when that term was like the proper term, somebody could address you as a Negro like in a real derogatory like term, right?
Of course.
It's like tone, right?
Exactly. I said term. We're educated now, people. But I'm just that's what I mean. And so
that's
like
why we got a woman here to correct us.
Yeah. So I just feel like this is just my opinion, right? And I still would rather hear from the both of you, but first of all, I can't give my opinion. I grew up around Hispanic people. My kids are all half Mexican. And in no way, shape, or form has anybody ever been like, oh, he just called me a wetback. That's cool. Never. That was never meant to be. And I also think, like, life is more complicated than that. We try and simplify things like, oh, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean that. Like, no, just look at what was going on and look at the depth of the person and their intelligence. We consider people intelligent, but they're not intelligent enough to know how words can affect somebody else. I can't just walk up to a random woman in the streets and be like, what's up, bitch? And just be like, no, I meant it in a good way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Unless
Like,
she's cool, you never know. She's like, what's up?
I don't think any woman's
what's
gonna
cracking. Any good woman's not gonna like that. But I get what you're getting at, bro. But
so
like I said, times change.
So then anybody with any integrity is not gonna like being called a wetback, bro.
Obviously, in today's time and age, but like you just said with the N word, and I'm talking about the NEGRO. In today's world, you cannot say that irregardless. In today's world, you cannot say wetback. I do not condone that. Nobody should be saying that to anybody. That's disgusting if you're saying that to anybody. But in those times, it was a little bit different, bro. And that was another slang term you could say, or another term of saying illegal immigrants that are crossing the Rio Grande coming into America, bro. It's the context. It's not him saying, oh, these wetbacks in a disgusting term. Which, if that was the way he said it, then shame on him. That's disgusting. But from the videos I watched, it was not saying that.
I just can't grasp that. Like,
bro, you just said this because you're contradicting yourself. When you're saying that, like, if you're saying what MLK said about on the word I said, I don't want to keep lettering it. You know which one I'm saying.
Yes.
This the same thing, bro. Because if white people used it at the same time back then, it's the way they would say it.
Okay,
bro.
so
in the
was
50s
there ever?
And 60s.
Okay, let me show you how it's not the same thing. There was an actual Negro league in baseball. There was never a wetback league.
What is that? What are you getting at right now, bro?
That was
You know what I
there
mean.
is no like
Okay, bro.
there is no
All right.
there's no way for you to say that he was
Listen.
meaning wetback and that he didn't mean nothing bad by
By
it
illegal
at
immigrant.
any time.
Because that was a widespread thing. Okay, look, and this is what I'm gonna say too. I don't want to speak for the Mexicans. I have love for Mexicans.
Call me a
I
wetback, see
grew
what
up in
happens,
Mexican.
Call me a wetback,
Do it,
bro.
do it.
See what happens.
All right, bro. I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
No, but
okay,
listen,
listen.
But I'm
bro.
just saying.
Honestly.
I understand. No, wait.
Bro, I'm sorry. I was just trembling over here because of what Moses said.
Yeah, I
but
saw you
back
shaking.
to reality. Back to reality.
Your
Where I don't
shoes
give a
almost came
flying
off.
Fook, yeah. Back to reality. Bro, you will get what I'm saying. I get what you guys are saying. It's not condoned. I grew up with Mexicans. Some of my closest friends are Mexicans and black people. And that one neighbor I told you that I have is black.
Yeah.
Don't forget that one neighbor. But
What's his name?
He's all Jerome. Chantal.
Tyrone from the Fast and Furious. No, that doesn't matter. Look, the fact of the matter is, I don't want to speak for them. I understand if people were to take it wrong. I understand them, and I understand the people who are like, no, times are different, things change. So I don't want to speak for either side. I just thought it's an interesting thing to bring up, and I feel like our viewers should comment and say what they think about Caesar Chavez. Was he a good person? Was he a bad person? Did he do everything for the wrong reasons? So I feel like our viewers should also decide on that. But again, we can agree to disagree. Everybody has their opinions that they're entitled to. So I'm just voicing mine. And if I did feel like, bro, and if there's more proof you can bring me, just like straight up, you know how I am. I'm open-minded, bro. I'll real quick.
I got
be like,
Caesar
hey, I gotta
Chavez
kick
himself. Come on in.
back. No, you got him out
For our
back.
next guest. Dim the lights, please. He's like, so bright in here. He's been
Max,
in
get out of
closed
seat.
environment for a minute now. So, no, okay. Look, before I even say anything, do you any elaboration more on this?
Yeah, please.
I'm good talking off it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from because I feel like times have changed, obviously, and a lot of terms that were used back then are very offensive now, right? And I do need to because I'm kind of like, I haven't done enough research with the whole Caesar Chavez thing, like transparently. So I would want to like dive more into it and kind of see like if that's accurate.
Yeah. Do your research for sure. And I
Yeah,
would say
I
get
will.
primary sources too, first sources like your elders.
Yeah, send
people
her
who've
your
lived through it.
Wikipedia website.
Huh?
I just
This is not done
Send me
through.
the
I don't do my studies like you do your studies. I do my studies. First of all, I go to people who've lived through the situations if I can. Then I go to the online. Then I go to bugs.
Well,
and I
you-
go to
you
all
also-
that. But
you-
Amoraa is a G for understanding what I was saying.
I
Air
get where,
5.
I
It's
get where
not.
you're
I'm not trying to
coming
speak for anybody, but I feel like again, like you said, things are a lot deeper than we understand. Like we see to be, and there's just multiple views of perception on
Don't be a
things.
simpleton. We gotta go there.
Yeah, we got
comes out
OG
again.
number one simpleton right here, holding it down.
You know
for
what
the
I
Saints.
mean? I keep life simple and I'm happy. But anyways, all I'm saying is this though, is that I think that when it comes down to situations, I am the type of person, I don't cut people slack, right? Because we can't go, and this is more than just Caesar Chavez. Like, I would say this for like anybody who has a cult following in general. You can't be looking at a person like they got all the answers, like they're intelligent, like they're wise. And then when something happens that's questionable, we start trying to make excuses for this person. Like, they couldn't have meant this. I don't think they meant that. The people that I like to look at as like good leaders throughout history, there is no confusion. There was never nothing that happened that we were confused. There was no controversy. Like, did he mean this or did he not mean that? Right? I'll even use like Malcolm X for an example. Right? So, in the beginning part of his run with the Nation of Islam, he was extremely racist. Right? For me to sit up here and be like, well, he didn't mean all white people. He meant all white people. He was like, nah, we're good. But even with that, towards the end, after he went on his pilgrimage and he came back and he saw white people out there in Mecca and he understood that he was taught improperly, then he came back and he was just apologizing. He was changed. He was no longer, he was like, oh, it's not what I was taught and everything like that. But I'm just sticking to that one, him making the comments about like white people, because he would make a lot of racial comments towards white people.
And the Democrats.
Whoever, right? But yeah, the point being is like we're not gonna come back later like, oh, he didn't really mean it like that, or it was the time and the age. He's a great leader, so the things that he said he meant, and he made it clear. If you're a great leader, then when you speak, it's clear, and we understand the message you're getting. I believe that, first of all, I don't know anything. He just educated me on this, but just from hearing this little bit right now, um, if Caesar Chavez was a great leader, then how could we say that we didn't understand him properly? He had the platform to speak.
Because you weren't alive at that time.
I wasn't alive when Malcolm X was alive, and I know a lot about him. It's simple research, right?
He didn't even get assassinated.
I wasn't alive when George Washington was here or Christopher Columbus, and I can tell you
he died because of his hunger strikes, brother. Do you know that?
Caesar Chavez?
Not because of all those hunger strikes.
But
He
my
got a
point
toll
being
on his
is,
body.
if you're a good leader, you're clear. Your points are clear. When we look at, like, okay, let me change the word from good. When you're a strong leader, right? I'll give you an example. Look at Hitler, right? Hitler was
greatest example that you could have brought up
Yes.
for a great leader. Okay, now we know. But that's boss talk, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm dead serious, right? I'm dead serious. That's why I erased the word good. I said strong, right? The dude was probably one of the strongest leaders ever. He took over like his whole entire country from the ground up, so we can't knock his leadership skills.
He was an evil genius for sure.
Yeah. And so, but my point being is, we're never going to be like, well, Hitler, he didn't really mean this or that. Everything he said was clear. You knew he doesn't like Jews. He thinks that the Germans are the superior race, everything like that. So when I get to looking at somebody who's supposed to be a public figure or a leader, and we start getting like to this whole simple conversation of like, maybe I'm like, well, then throw the whole person away. Throw them away. If we can't just look at them and know what they're about, then they weren't good in the first
I wouldn't
place.
say that because, bro, you got to look at the positives too. If we're always just going on the negatives, then that's a wrap. Then what's the point of? Because he did a lot of positive things too, bro. He taught people how to boycott stuff. If he was still around, we would have been able to boycott things more correctly. Unlike when people go around saying, "Everybody go boycott the gas. What do you call them? The oil or whatever, right?" And then they're like, "Okay, today we're gonna go boycott all the Mobil, Exxon." It doesn't work like that. First, you got to start with Shell. We're gonna boycott Shell, just how Caesar Chavez did. First, he started with the grapes. Then he started with going down the line of things, doing it correctly with hunger strikes and bringing it in, and then connecting it again. If you got his own Mexican people that are getting brought in by these farmers, the owners of these lands, and they're like, okay, we're gonna pay you less money, and if you're not down with it, we're gonna report you to ICE, we're gonna report you to immigration services, and we're gonna just send you back out. So that was the situation that was going on. A lot of the stuff that Chavez would even talk about is the exploitation of Mexican Americans and the Mexican immigrants on both sides, and I feel like it's gone misconceived. And again, if I'm wrong, I'd love for somebody to tell me I'm wrong, and I'll accept it with true facts. And Jevon, anytime you tell me I'm wrong, I know I'm right. So you can tell me I'm wrong every single day of my life, today, brother. Then I'm wrong, bro. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what I think, bro, honestly.
Who's someone you look up to today?
Donald Trump. 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 D-O-N-A-L-D. Trump.
You're his main cheerleader, huh?
We love Trump. Great guy. Jevon, horrible guy.
The greatest.
What a horrible guy. We don't like Jevon. And we know we had the greatest black vote.
We did.
The blacks, they loved me.
They rigged.
Oh my god.
No, someone who I truly look up to is Jesus Christ.
There you go.
That's
the answer I was looking for.
Who else can you look up to,
Let's
honestly?
go.
Something that here's something crazy. I don't know if any of you guys heard about this or not, but I be seeing like the wildest stuff ever. So I feel like we'll probably be talking a lot about the Israel-Palestine conflict on, probably like 20,000 episodes because it's never ending, right? And there's always something like just crazy happening. So my understanding is that you have the Jewish community, right? But you have it's also like the same thing in the Christian community, right? There's like 20,000 different sects of Christianity. You have Eastern Orthodox, Protestant, Catholic. I even think Jehovah's Witness is a off branch, you know, all of these things.
Was real quick. Jehovah's Witness was created by a Freemason, right?
I don't know.
They're the ones that are always
I know
knocking
it's
at your
fake,
door,
though.
though.
Yeah, I know.
And then you don't want to answer. You just open the
it's
blinds and
fake.
close
Yeah,
them
like,
up.
sorry.
You know what I'm
It's
talking
fake
about?
news, but
No,
I'm
never
just saying
seen
that.
a Jehovah's Witness come to your door.
Oh yeah. Jehovah.
They're always on their
Yeah.
bikes with like a white shirt.
No,
and-
but I'm not. You know, I'm just playing. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm just saying that you have, like even though these will all fall under the umbrella of like Christianity, we have like strong differences in our views and whatnot. You know, I've actually gotten into like intense debates with Catholics. I've gotten into intense debates with Orthodox Christians. Everybody else, right? I guess I would fall under Protestant. But the point that I'm making is that with Judaism too, they also have their different ghetto bird, y'all. Just give us a second. We gotta let them in LA.
It's a racist ghetto bird, bro.
It's
When he started
racist.
talking, he started coming over to
feel like I'm back home.
pinche
So-
ghetto bird.
Hey, that's
dog.
funny. We was shooting that podcast outside. We were having this issue. Now we're indoors.
I know.
And we're still having the same issues.
How
with
close
Yep.
is this fool, though, bro? That we're
He's about
hearing
to
him
land,
like
bro.
that.
That's Trump.
That's Trump
on the
landing.
roof
That's
right
our
now.
next guest.
Max, here I come.
Yo, Trump.
Max is about to fangirl right now.
Max is about to pull up on Theo real quick and be like, "Yo, they hate you guys. Do something."
Go put
about
on
it."
your little cheerleading outfit.
So-
dog.
You can bring out your cheerleading outfit and do whatever you want, brother.
So-
I'm Gucci.
Anyways, the point that I was making is that you have a section. Remember last time I was telling you about the Goyim and things like that?
Mhm.
So that's like actually one of the sects of Judaism or Judaism that follow the ones who read the Talmud is what it is. You have Jews who read the Torah, and then you have ones who read the Talmud, and those are the ones who are like looking at everybody else like we're all the whole rest of the world, we're all trash. And so there's a rabbi, and I should have wrote his name down so I could just say this, and I saw a video of this. It's not something I read as a headline. It's a rabbi blames the hurricanes that are hitting Florida on America's betrayal to the Israelis.
One more time.
There's a rabbi who was blaming the hurricanes that were hitting over there in Florida. He's saying that God made those hurricanes hit over there because we're not supporting Israel enough.
That's just religious delusion. If you
I
ask
don't
me,
even think
bro.
he even believes in God, bro. Like when I hear people say something that's so, I just think they realize like people do believe in God. I can manipulate, and so I'm gonna go out and say this. But how insane is that though, right? Like, oh yeah, that's why you guys are going through. That's why all you guys lost your life or whatever, because you guys are not over here supporting us.
Just the fact that he
Yeah.
thinks he can speak for God and say stuff like that is also wild, bro.
Right. And he needs to put the pipe down because that's
Straight up, straight up.
clearly what he's hitting. And I saw it and I was just tripping out about it. And I also trip out about it because I don't know like what the playing field is like now. I know when this started to really hit mainstream media, a lot of people that I know that are Christian were like, oh, we got to support Israel because they're thinking like the Bible says Israel, you know, they're not understanding like the full context and everything like that. But it just trips me out that even now, like a dude just got burned alive. He was in the hospital and the video footage came out. He still had his IV hooked up to him. He was 20 years old. It was just about to be his birthday. And they couldn't get to him. The bomb hit where he was at the tent and he's burning alive. And then a spokesperson is like, oh, that's a fake. Like it's not real. It's like, bro, we can see this video, you know? And so it's just like, and the reason that I say we'll probably be talking about it is because as a person who my people have gone through so much oppression, and when I look back historically and I look back how many people are on the sidelines doing nothing for us and just like, oh, it's not affecting me, so it's nothing. I can never look at what's happening to like these Palestinian people and now the Lebanese people and everybody over there that just Israel decides that they want to just randomly start attacking and just like stay silent on it, you know. So I'll be bringing these topics up. You guys have any opinions on either of these?
I just think propaganda is real, and I pray to God that we can just bring peace in the Middle East.
Are you
That's all I
familiar
can
with
say.
this conflict that's going on? Do you know anything about this?
Yes, but I haven't done like my proper research.
Research
It's
on it.
just stuff that I've seen like on social media, like people taking sides.
Like in your algorithm, like, because I'm curious, like, what does it show you? Like, what does it appear to be like? Not your opinion necessarily, but if you were to see anything, does it look like one side is more good than the other, and then like what side is that?
Yeah.
How does it appear to you?
Well, most of like the people that I've seen are more for like Palestine. But I just think anybody that's killing like innocent children and people is in the wrong. And I know that goes for both, you know, but it's just, like I said, I have to like actually do my research, and I honestly haven't, because I kind of do want to be a little ignorant in a way, which I know is also bad.
Well, ignorance is bliss.
But it's just some things I just can't like mentally understand
Right.
and ingest.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, that's, I want to say understandable. I also just wonder, because if it's ever I guess for me, like, we went through it, right? And I'm not speaking for nobody else who did or didn't go for it. I'm just saying that, like, we went through it. It was so horrific, what we went through in this country, and it could have been stopped, right? Like, people could have, and so now I guess now racism, I feel like, is always attacked. It's always an attack on somebody who's black. I don't care where it is. If I see somebody being racist to an Asian person, I feel like they called that Asian person a nigger. If I see him being racist towards a Hispanic person, I feel like they called him a nigger. Like, no matter what it is, it just gets me, like, I'm intense about it. Right. Especially because of the great people that we lost due to racism and like eugenics movements and things like that. And so, just like quickly, just to let you know, like, from my side, I'm sure you'll see somebody else and they'll be like, that he's wrong. It's not that. Essentially, that's what it is that they're viewing themselves as superior over there. And like, they want to take that land. But I'm just looking at it like, where does it stop? You know, because first they just needed this. Now they're in Lebanon. And then what's next? Then where are they going to be at next? So, yeah, I just would advise you, when you get the opportunity, to look into it. It's a lot of people suffering.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And I think it means something when any of us get on a platform, because I know it means something to me. Obviously my house is not getting bombed right now, but like, anytime I see somebody who has any type of platform or whatever speak on the matter,
it's important to be vocal.
If you have a platform, I feel like it's
sure.
very, very important to get the word out. You know, you have that platform for a reason. People are looking at you, so might as well do good for the platform, do good for the people.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of war, isn't it how crazy how war in general has become so, like, cowardly? Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about it. He was saying, and it's probably one of the things I agree with him on. He says nowadays you don't even look in the eyes of the person you're killing. Everything is done through bombs. Everything is done through high caliber weaponry from a far angle, right? So at that, how cowardly has it become, regardless of what's going on? I just want to think, like, what do you guys think of that? Just that statement. I think it was a very powerful one. Just the fact that even with guns, bro, you're not even looking at the person's life that you're finessing, you're taking. You're not even looking at them in the eye. And so imagine that scale when it's bombing innocent Palestinians, bombing innocent lives, Ukrainians, anyone, whoever it may be. How cowardly this world has just become.
I think it's just a matter of like the type of warfare that we go through. So I would say more so than I would say cowardly. I would just put it in the aspect of evil, right? Because
evil and cowardly.
Well, the only reason I don't immediately jump to cowardly is because in retaliation, right? Like, if we had a bomb to send back to, like, if Hitler was here, right? We're always going to go to Hitler. He's just good for every conversation. So if Hitler was here and you had the ability to press a button and, you know, a bomb land where he's at and it stop anything that he's doing, I wouldn't consider somebody cowardly for hitting that button, you know, on him. But I would consider it cowardly or evil when you're hitting a button and it's landing on children and women.
Which most of the time it does, bro. How many times can they actually...
Non-militant. Actually, I think that
drone strikes specific, let's say, like,
they
militias and areas. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree that there is that too. But just in general, killing is what I was trying to get to. And I agree with what you're saying too. If you can do it in a way where you're not literally pulling up, that's a technological advance on the tip of military.
But it does fit, like, for sure. Like, a coward will take advantage of it, bro. Just like a coward will use a gun or anything else that he can get his hands on. Yeah, that's true. Like, there's no taking away. I'm just saying that it also just depends on, like, the motivation and, like, the person using whatever tool.
True, I agree
That's
with
that's
that.
that's what I was getting at with that. And I do think like I believe in like force or violence, if you put it like that. Like I don't believe in like a utopia or anything like that. Like the only peace that I believe in like that is heaven, right? When it's time for us to be in heaven, there will be peace. Nobody's gonna be fighting and whatnot there. But as long as like there are people who have like evil agendas or like they're real selfish with what they're doing, then I'm thankful for violence because we could put the smack down on people who who like I would guess deserve it, right? The problem is, you know, when you have these media outlets just telling you like everybody's a terrorist, like that's the trick, right?
It's propaganda.
Yeah, that's the propaganda. Is they just like whoever they want to get. Oh, that person's bad. They're evil, and so yeah, we're gonna go shoot them. And then you got all these people like, yeah, go shoot them, go kill them, right? And so it's a lot of misinformation. A lot of this is where I would go into that terminology simpleton, right? People who would just accept whatever they're seeing on the media about where to attack or who needs what, without looking into like why do these people, you know, why are they labeled this? Why are they doing what they're doing? You know, oh they're rebels. Oh they're just trying to defend their land. Like okay, weren't we rebels? Weren't we terrorists? Isn't America like a terrorist? And I'm not talking about what we do now. I'm saying like to the UK, to Britain, and all of them, like we're terrorists. Like when we were trying to leave and get our independence, we were not like patriots. They were like they weren't like we got to go get the patriots. They were like we need to go get the terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, warfare changes people. It sucks. It sucks. I guess that's my thoughts on it.
For sure. I want to bring up something else too, because we got a very powerful deist up here. Just not Moses. No, I'm kidding, bro. You want to tell me I'm a cheerleader for Trump? Hell yeah, I'm a cheerleader for Trump. Bro, what's
Go
up,
bring out
dog?
your outfit.
Dog, I got that outfit from you. But real
Okay,
quick,
so
so
what
What
are
you
this
doing
is
in
what
his
I want to bring up.
Here.
Listen. Let's bring it back real quick. So
You
we
trapped in the
have,
closet?
we're with two Mexicans, a black brother, an Armenian. What can we do as minorities to break that cultural barrier that's between all of our races and bring us all closer to one another? So us as the quote unquote minority, even though statistically we know we have more Latinos in in California than the so-called white people, whoever you guys are eating mayonnaise or whatever you guys are doing.
Well, Los Angeles used to be Mexico back then.
I know, of course it was,
Mhm.
bro. New Mexico, Arizona, it was
Yeah.
all that's Mexican land.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
your guys' land, and I 100% agree with that statement. But what can we do? Because I noticed, like, first of all, the number one priority should be the human race, but we know that's harder for me to get there. So we got to start within our own groups and then be able to branch out so we can get the human race and
Mhm.
be able to bring everybody together as one, which is harder. But what we can do to be a little simpler is start in our own group of people, right? And what I've been noticing is a lot, and specifically in my and with the Armenians, I've been noticing a lot of like just hate. Somebody will post something, someone will do something, and I love my people, and I know our people are very prideful of who we are. Armenians, we're indigenous. And a quick fun fact for people who don't know, people want to always ask, "Oh, Armenians, are they Middle Eastern? Are they Caucasian? Are they European? Are they Asian?" We're none of those. We're Armenians because we're indigenous to our lands, which is a cool, quick, fun fact. We're none of that. We're indigenous to our lands, so we're not Middle Eastern. We're none. You could say we're from the Middle East, but we're not. We're Armenian. We're not European. We're not Asian. None of that. Armenian. So what I'm just coming back to, I've been noticing that there's hate when you go on social media and you see all these keyboard warriors going at it. It's just a disgusting thing to me. But I wanted to also ask you guys, do you guys notice that in your guys' cultures, in your guys' just race, that there is an issue of hate amongst one another? And what can we do to break that, stop that, to educate our own people to be like, bro, we need one another?
Mhm.
Because the government is obviously not really that much for us.
Yeah.
So what can we do as the people to rise in our own groups and connect those who have been called minorities, even though at this point we're not the minority, we're the majority? But before we get to that step, what have you guys been noticing that too? Is there hate amongst Mexicans a lot? Is there hate amongst
I feel like a lot
African-Americans?
of hate had to do because Los Angeles is the gang capital of the world, and everybody has their own little gang. You know, you have the Mexican gangs, you have the black gang, you have Armenian Power, and that's where it all originated from. Is everyone has their own territory and they're going against each other, so it lands up causing that hate for that certain culture. You know, but fast forward to now, I feel like we're starting to come together a little more as a society, as people, because now we're finally understanding more. And like for the Mexican culture, we're getting out of, like, for my family, like we're trying to get out of the hood. Like now I'm out of the hood. Like I'm happy for that, you know. But for us, like what we're doing here, we have these cultures, and we just need to let people know, educate people more on our cultures, you know. Like I want to go ahead and hang out with your family. I want to know what your family's about. I want to know what your family's about. So that's how we gotta just be able to come together, bring your friends together and your family.
100%. What about you, brother? What do you think about, or Amoraa, do you agree with what he said?
Yeah, I agree. I think every culture has its own like thing, right? It like makes us different, but also like the same. So I think it's important to kind of explore that, educate yourself, and do things that like bring light to that. Because a lot of times, you know, there's people that like wear certain, I don't know, Mexican fits in a way where it could be offensive, and then there's other times where it could be like in celebration of it, you know,
Or empowering.
yeah, so it's good to educate yourself in like that way and implement yourself, and you know, make friends that are of different cultures and kind of just share it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you notice like any internal hate?
Within my own culture?
Yes.
Yeah, that's also a point I was trying to like.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I can't speak for all cultures, but I think that there's
No, like specifically like
mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that there's been not like personally, but I mean, I've seen people being called even wetbacks by other like Mexicans,
Yeah.
in an offensive way.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? So it's like, yeah, there's definitely, I think, people that hate that there's like, you know, jealousy or whatever the case may be. And I think that, I don't know, I'm very supportive of my own culture.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody winning, you know.
Exactly. As one should.
Yeah, I think when it comes to blacks, like we're a little bit unique. Like it's not necessarily that we have like hate. We have this like colorism, but the colorism is only like, it only like runs like so deep, right? Like I'm not I got friends who are light skinned, friends who are dark skinned, right? It's not like an issue or anything.
It's because you don't like Drake, huh?
That's what it is.
That's what it was.
I don't
knew
like
it.
Canada.
I
No, I'm
felt
just
it.
playing
No,
Canada.
and yes, sorry to interrupt, but colorism is also an issue within the Hispanic
Yeah.
community.
Go ahead
for
and
sure.
elaborate. I'll let you go ahead and take that away, and then I'll come back.
Okay, like for example, novelas, right? Novelas are like soap operas within, I guess, like Hispanic culture, mostly I think Mexican. But if you look at all the actors and actresses in it, they're all light skinned.
Right.
It's like very rare to see like a darker Mexican Latino. And that's where kind of like colorism comes into place. It's like they want to bring light to the people that are like light skinned,
Right.
Right.
as opposed to like the darker.
Interesting.
That's funny because I had just took a Spanish class not too long ago, and our professor was clearly black, but she's Mexican, right? And then this is one of the things that got brought up was how, and I forgot what actress it was. She was showing us like a clip of somebody, first language Spanish, you know, grew up, might have been Colombia or whatever. But the whole thing about it was they were like, when I go to try and get cast for traditional roles of like wherever it is, like Colombian or whatever, they're like, oh, you don't look Colombian enough. You know, and then they pick somebody who's like not even from Colombia, but just because they have
Right.
like the look. So
It happens all the time.
for blacks, our the conflict internally between us, it doesn't really fall there. Like we crack jokes. We tend to more so like stick together. But I guess you know what, where it happens is if somebody is like, first of all, if you're black in America, you are not 100% African. You know, I don't even care how you look. I don't care. You could be the darkest skinned person ever, but we could go back and we could see you got like a white relative somewhere or something. Like, cause you can easily, like this could just, like my kids, for example, my son is light skinned. He could go like 4 generations down the line. They could like stay away from black people, and then all of a sudden, black person come back in and turn the whole color right back. You know, skin
Putting the
color
melanin
black.
right back. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And now you walking around thinking like I'm blackety black, but you don't even know you got German in your blood. You got all these things, right? And in America in particular, like we're definitely, like black people out here, we're mixed one way or another. But the point being is that they always look at like what generation you're mixed. Like, oh, okay, he was mixed like a couple generations ago, so he's like fully black now. Versus, I can even use like a situation like Drake or whatever, him being half white, and then people will look at him a certain type of way. So I have this conversation with my kids, right? And I tell my kids all the time, like, first of all, you guys got the best of both worlds. You guys are black and you guys are Mexican. You know, you don't need to lean more towards either side. You are literally you. I'm not you. Your mom's not you. You guys are you, and that's fire, right? And I tell them, but at the same time, if you walk into a environment where there's like Hispanic people and they're trying to look down on you, like, oh, you're not Mexican, like you could tell them, you know, I can't even see now that I'm not cussing. I can't even, but you know what I mean. Like, you know,
we know what you mean.
Yeah.
you stand on business. Like, don't even care. I don't be insecure about it or nothing. And then at the same time, if you walk into an environment where there's black people and they're looking at you like, you ain't like really black. Like, tell them the same thing. Like, you know, as far as you are, there was one time where, this is many years ago. I had a coworker when I used to work for the city, and he was half black, half white. And I had another coworker, she was half black, half white. And so we're sitting there with the one coworker, and he's a tiny dude. And so people, you know, that's when they want to get brave, when they see somebody who's small or whatever, they pick on him. And he said something, nigga, right? And then she's like, you can't say that. And we looked at her like, first of all, he can say whatever he wants to say. Like, he's black, period. Like, you can't take that away from him. And you're just as black as he is. You know? Like, I'm black too, right? But nah, you can't let somebody control your own identity. That's how I view it. So that long-winded answer is that within the black community, our conflict comes from anytime somebody's mixed, we want to be like, oh, you're not this, or you're not black enough type of deal.
So that's what you think the main issue is?
Internally within the black community, that is, as far as hate goes, right? There, you can't name something that's bigger as far as hate goes, based strictly off of our culture, like our race, right? Like you can't go into like gang violence. That's not like I'm going to get him because he's a black person. That's like he's from a different hood. You know what I mean? But if you eliminate that, it's always because of being mixed in the black community.
For Mexican culture too, it comes to a point where it's like, if you don't speak Spanish, that's a big one.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
That's a big one. Like, if you don't speak Spanish, bro, like, they'll be talking shit about you in Spanish. And it's like, no, I know those words. But that's a huge one right
a no
there.
sabo kid.
Yeah, there you go, no sabo kid, yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, real fast, before you go on, I just got to say, Moses left me hanging. Moses didn't take me to an event. We go up in there to film, to get connections, and the speakers are all speaking in Spanish and everything.
And we're right there.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, Moses got this. I'm like, I'm going to just ask him what they're talking about, like, when this is over with. And I'm like, Moses, what they talking about? He's like, I don't know.
You're a no sabo kid.
I'm a no sabo kid. The whole event was in Spanish,
bro.
though, and I'm right here listening, and Jevon's right here shaking his head. I'm like, I wonder if Jevon knows Spanish. Like, his wife's Mexican. Like, he probably does know a lot of Spanish. And I'm like, I know that word. And then he turns to me like, hey, what were they just talking about right now? I'm like, I have no idea, dog.
He's like, see, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, whenever I seen somebody getting serious, I got serious. That's what you always do. I know how to read.
You gotta read the room.
You gotta read the body language.
Body
That's what it
language,
is.
yeah.
Yep.
So, like, I know when somebody's trying to talk some trash about me, I don't even need to know the language. Like,
Yeah.
Like, what's up, bro?
It's the energy.
¿Qué eres?
But real quick, just to bring it back on why I brought this topic up, so from what we understood, there are these internal battles between our own people, and I feel like that's something we all need to work upon. Try to break it up, and the main reason I brought it up, for speaking as an Armenian for myself, I'm gonna bring up an example. I was on Instagram, I saw a wedding of some people I knew, good people, hardworking people, clean people, never had done anything wrong, and they did a very big wedding. They showed out because they deserve to. If you have the money to, you should do it to your own capability. And somehow the video ended up on Instagram. I don't know how it ended up on Instagram. And bro, they had like a couple 100,000 views on it, and on the whole comments were Armenians hating on this wedding. Not all of them, but a big part. Like, who are you showing off to? This and this, like, and it's honestly, it's just disgusting. As an Armenian, when I see that, we should be empowering one another. We should not be. What is this? What is this immature stuff that's going on? As an Armenian, I'm proud to be Armenian, but when I see stuff like that, I'm not proud of stuff I see like that. So I just want to say to my own people, we need to hold each other's hands more. We need to love each other more and not just real quick. What is it? I don't get what it is. Is it jealousy that makes you do that? That makes you want to act aggressive, or do you know that you're behind a screen, you can't see each other? And I know this goes for all cultures too, but just I'm speaking upon mine because I saw it specifically, and it honestly disgusted me. I was thinking, should I write something? And I'm like, bro, I'm not a keyboard warrior. If anybody really does have a problem, they want to see me, they can pull up. The people from that wedding are good people, bro. They've never done anything like wrong ever, and you just see all these people hating, just disgusting things. So just a real quick, I love my people, but we need to work. My people, we need to work, and all of us need to work together. So at a point, us that quote unquote minorities are the majority.
Right.
So that's just a tip I'm on. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to push that.
Yeah. It's just a shame in general for people to hate on you for being successful.
Literally,
for following your dream, for being like, why are you gonna hate for? You should be supporting me, especially if you're a loved one. And if you notice, it's a lot of people that are close to you that end up hating on you. In the dark.
True.
Like,
That's in the dark, but it's obviously the ones who don't know you that'll go on Instagram and be keyboard warriors because they know they can.
It's a social media.
Exactly. They can never do half of the wedding that these people did.
Jealousy.
Exactly. And it's killing them in the inside. What is this, a wedding? Some idiot wrote, what is this, a wedding or a Rolls Royce car show? Because they had like 20 Rolls Royces up in there. But if you can do it, you better do it, bro. What is it any of your business to hate? The only thing as an Armenian you should do, or any race that sees another beautiful, great wedding like that, all you gotta do is say that's beautiful, I'm happy for you.
Or don't say nothing at all.
Or don't say nothing at all. Yeah, if you see them and you really have something you're trying to say it in person. Let's see how that's gonna go down. Let's see what's gonna crack there.
Yeah,
but
that don't happen no more. Not in today's era.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's everything's a wrap. So
you gotta bring back fist fighting in the restrooms in elementary. Teach these kids some lessons.
Literally, bro.
They gonna lose.
Yep.
Old heads versus the young heads.
I'm undefeated in the bathroom. So
those are some times.
No, but I think that it could just, more than it being like specific to like internal like thing of like a race or a culture, I think that it's more so like what you said, like jealousy.
Yeah, I just think it's bitterness, and if it's not affecting anybody negatively, like, why does it matter? Why does it matter what somebody else is doing? Like, literally just mind your business, honestly.
It takes no energy out.
No energy. You're literally wasting energy by just hating.
Well, then that's when it comes to, that's what I was going to say is like, it's like a maturity thing, and I think that in everybody's culture, you have immature people and you have mature ones, right? And I thrive off of being around mature black people. I love it. Like, I love when I'm around older black men and that's just nothing but maturity. I'm like, this is dope. Yeah. And then when I'm around somebody older and they're just like younger than me in mindset, I'm like, man, what is going on over here, right? So that's essentially what it is. And it was probably, I'm sure the people that were leaving them comments were probably young as hell.
Not even. There was some
older
fat guys the pony hit the poles in front of like a statue somewhere, and then on the comment it's like the stupidest shit, bro. Like, you don't even have hair on your head, my boy. Yeah. What are you talking about? Go to Greece and get like a real quick hair transplant.
Nice.
Then start commenting, bro.
Turkey.
Nice.
Yeah, they do it in Turkey, but the Armenians and the Turks, we don't really.
Yeah.
But even though there are good Turkish people, I will say that there are great Turkish people. It's the government that's like pushing this propaganda.
Yeah, Lebanese food is better though.
Yeah. Cap.
Hold on.
Admiral General Cap out over here, bro.
Let me.
But Lebanese tacos are Lebanese.
All right, so what
I'm gonna look at you two to be inclusive.
Listen, man.
We'll
just
do
eat
some
the food.
research.
I don't dictate. I something I have been meaning to. It's a verse I wanted to bring up. Like, we're in like episode 7 now, and I've had this verse since episode 1. And we never get to it, right? So I'm getting to it this time, right? Because I thought it was pretty interesting, and I want like your takes on this. So this is Hebrews 13 verse 2, and it says, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it." Have you guys ever heard that verse before?
I've heard it.
Have you heard this verse before? Have you heard this verse before?
I haven't.
What are your thoughts on that verse?
I feel like that can mean a lot of things. Like when it says, but some have shown hospitality to angels. And I feel like, am I doing the quotations right on the angels part?
Three fingers. No, I'm just like, yeah.
on the angels. So, like, for example, right, just Muhammad. Didn't an angel come to him and give him the Quran?
according to their
According to
their
the
faith,
Quran.
I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm not breaking anything down, but I know in the Bible it says that you're not supposed to take any like knowledge like that from an angel. No, it's supposed to
Doesn't
be
say
from the
that.
Word of God. I think there's something along the lines of what I just said though pertaining to that. I'm just not saying it correctly probably.
Well,
That's
then,
why I'm asking you our
I guess
senior correspondents in religion.
right. So I would just ask this first: do we all believe in anything else? Do you believe in angels? Do you believe in angels?
Yeah.
Do you believe
I
in
believe
angels?
in angels.
What capacity do you see? This is one verse that like I shared because I'm gonna kind of just like so we don't like what I'm saying is this right here. Just I'll give you guys my thoughts. Is it a trip to know that you have more than likely interacted with an angel in your life disguised as a human?
Oh, for sure.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. No.
You
It's like
probably
you-
more than likely have interacted
Mhm.
like with a literal angel and didn't even know it. And it doesn't mean the person was
Literal
like
or
blowing-
figuratively, like
No,
the person
like
is such a great person that they're an angel.
I mean a literal angel. There if you as you're studying the Bible, you'll realize that there's plenty of times where like angels will walk amongst men and disguise themselves as like regular like men. And it's crazy to think of the capacity that it's happened. Now, the reason I say it's even crazy to think about the capacity is because if you look at that verse, it's saying this verse is about hospitality, right, to strangers. So it's somebody coming to you like in need. So if you have interacted with an angel, it probably wasn't like somebody drove up in a Ferrari like, yo, what's up? And you're like,
Right.
what's up to him too? And you didn't know that was an angel. It was probably somebody who might have asked you for $1, you know, walking down the street.
Yeah.
Or somebody who like said, hey, like, can you put gas in my car?
Right. When that happened to me in that situation.
Yeah.
That's true.
And that's a trip. How do you guys feel about like people coming up to you like randomly and asking you like, hey, you have people at the gas station ask you for like $1 or things like that? What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel obligated? Do you feel not obligated? What are your thoughts
No,
on
I feel obligated. Do I give it to them? Most of the time, no. There are the occasional times where I do have cash and I'm able to like give it to them, right? But I don't know. I've never like thought of it like that. When I think of angels, I think of spirits around me. So I feel like 24/7 there's like spirits, angels, right, around me that I can't see. So me, I try to be the best person that I can be at all times. No matter who I'm with, where I'm at, I just try to be the best person because I know that there's God looking at me and angels around me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I've never thought of it as in like a physical form. That to me is interesting. But I mean, I would say I'm kind to everybody. Like everybody that I come into contact with. Even like if I don't have the $1, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. But there's been times where I go into the gas station, I get them like food or water, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I have come in contact with an angel. Like physically.
And hopefully we did the right thing. Hopefully it wasn't that person you got road rage against.
I
Flipped them
know.
off.
I
And God's
know.
like, so look
Remember
at
this? Remember this right here? Yeah, I mean, for me, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I believe in it. You know, it's like the whole gas station thing that happened to me. So what happened was like I was driving to work, I was low on gas, and then I was thinking about putting gas or not. And I ended up stopping, and then I see this guy like walking around with the container, and a lot of people are telling him no. And I pull over, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, like I'll fill it up for you. Yeah, I got you. You know." So I filled it up for him, but that was a blessing. But what I'm talking about also is like you could run into somebody that's asking you for money, and then you land up giving it to them, and then they have a full on conversation with you, and then you could be going through something in your life, and then in that conversation, it kind of helps you out. And then you go throughout your day and you're like, damn, I needed that. That could be like an angel type of situation because that's happened to me before as well.
No, I think that, like, honestly, it's like a domino effect. I think that, like, everything you do, there's, like, a reaction to it. And so that kind of, I wanted to mention this earlier because you were talking about how, like, your life is changing. You've become, like, a little more aware and a little more grateful. Being grateful every day goes such a long way.
Right.
Even if it's just thanking God for, like, being able to hear.
Yes.
Like, you don't think about the things that you have in the moment because you're just, it's normal, right? But I've learned to appreciate just every single thing that I'm able to do. Even going to the gym. I used to hate going to the gym. Now I wake up, I'm like, all right, let's get this workout in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy and blessed to be able to work out.
Straight up.
Exactly.
Going for a walk, being able to talk to you guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it like, once you change your mindset, everything that happens, it's like, all right, let it happen.
Right.
Just to go, you want to say something? Okay.
No, you could go ahead.
Just to elaborate on what you said about being grateful. When I pray to God, I always even say, Father, my God, thank you for the pain that I've gone through. Thank you for the darkness, because when I don't, if I don't go through this darkness, I won't see the light. If if I do not go through the pain, I will not feel the bliss. So whatever you're saying on like just being grateful, I agree. Every single thing that comes to us, we should be grateful, whether it's good or bad, because everything has like the end goal, right? The end game of why you're going through this pain right now,
Yeah.
Right.
why you're in struggle, why you're having financial issues, whoever it may be. So in the end game, you see that little light that just shines so bright in the night.
Yeah.
So
That's the first thing I do when I wake up. You know, the first thing I do when I wake up is I count my blessings. I have a roof over my head. I have a bed to lay in. I got a job. You know, I'm pushing towards my career. I could walk, I could run, I could jump, I could see, I could hear. I'm blessed to have all of that.
Yeah.
There's people that would love to have that and they can't. You know? So I would say wake up in the morning and count your blessings first, and your day is going to be so much better right from the jump.
Yeah.
I know me when I wake up, I try and get like little traditions for myself going. And so like one of the things that I do is I have like, I think I might have mentioned this before. I have 3 prayers that I say. And if I can, I say these prayers like back to back. So the first prayer is a prayer of thanks where I don't ask for anything whatsoever. Like if I you know, sometimes you mistakenly ask, but like it's all thanks. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you. And I start going down a list of things. And then, you know, after that prayer is over, then I say the Lord's Prayer, because I'm like, this is what it says. This prayer encapsulates everything, right? God knows your heart. He knows what you need, what you want. And this is the prayer that Jesus was actually reciting. So I say the Lord's Prayer. And then I'll go into like a conversation. And then that one is like where I'll speak freely. And also, I want to kind of like end on this note, but like get everybody's opinions on this. When they say to speak to God, like, however, what does that mean to you? Because I've heard people saying things like, yeah, you could cuss when you're talking to God, or you could do things like that. It doesn't matter. It's as long as you're there, because it's better to be talking to him than to not. But I'm not a believer in that. Like, I don't think it's like, I don't walk over to my parents and just be like, what the F is up? And, you know, just get into so like, God is a father. He's even more of a parent to you than your actual parents. Why would you not show that type of courtesy or respect there?
Right.
What's your opinion on like how do you speak to
That's
God?
funny, because I was like recently talking to somebody about like the Kendrick speech. I don't know if you guys heard it.
I did.
But he kind of said something like that you can like talk to God like if you're talking to homie.
Right.
But no, I don't agree with that. I think that there's like a level of respect that you should be talking to God in. And there's been times where I have like accidentally cursed while I'm like saying my prayer, and then I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, God. Like I'd be forgetting sometimes, you know. But no, I think that you should be respectful. I don't talk to my parents like that. I wouldn't want to talk to God like that.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
So I agree with you.
Yeah, it's that level of respect for sure. You shouldn't cuss while you're in prayer.
Yeah.
100%. I'm on that same tip. I mean, this is the creator of creators, the beginning, the end, the all dimensions. Like, come on, how you need to have that respect. I don't know who the hell said, yeah, you can cuss when you talk to God. That's crazy.
I've heard it
bro.
a lot, actually. I heard it
That's
where she
wild.
was talking about, like, because I did hear, I did see that. And when I see stuff like that, it sucks, too, because it's like, I really like Kendrick, right? I especially love, you know, how he stomped a mud hole in Drake, you know, like the way he did it because of, like, what it was about, you know, the way it was, like, on a moral standard. He didn't come in there like, I got more money than you or none of this stuff. It was like, I got a family and you don't.
Yeah.
I'm raising my kid and you ain't, you know, I'm trying to help people and you ain't. But yeah, I just, again, he's not God, right? So it's like we can always find a flaw in a human. And I've actually heard Kendrick say a few things relating to God that I disagree with. But again, he's a human.
Even the crown of thorns. What do you think about the crown of thorns?
You
think that was appropriate, like art, the pain of Christ, like you're going and making that bedazzled And I'm sure we all like Kendrick
I didn't.
musically, but I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, I don't know about that one, brother. What do you guys feel about The Crown? I mean, it's old, but
I
still,
think he's
since
doing.
we're on
I
this
think
topic,
I think he's doing it in a godly manner. You know, I don't think he did it
like he's
in
trying
an
to
offensive
represent
way.
himself. I know, but he's trying to represent himself. I'm like a
like the
god.
sacrifice that he's probably made. You get me?
Or he's even trying to represent it that like he's a god. And
I don't
know.
I don't
Maybe
see
he's
it
not
that
saying
way,
it
but
that
I
way.
know
see
an
it.
artist who does say that he is a god.
Kanye. But
Yeah.
that was back in the day. By the way,
Yeah.
Kanye's my number one favorite
Yeah,
all
this
time
is
rapper.
so. If it's not Trump, it's Kanye.
It's
Just so
Kanye,
you know.
yeah.
Kanye, Trump.
Yeah,
Kanye,
yeah,
Trump.
Kanye Trump. That's who he wants as vice
Yeah.
VP. Is
Straight up, dog. I was voting
Wait,
for
wait,
Kanye
wait,
without
wait. So would you
2020.
take
Hold
who
up.
if you had the option? Would you make Kanye president and Trump the VP, or would you make Trump the president and Kanye?
I love Kanye, bro, but I don't know about him being in politics because I feel
Okay.
like his and not to say that he couldn't. I mean, Kanye, we've seen it.
I hope
He's
he
done
don't.
the impossible, and I feel like he can always do it. But here's the thing. He's a musical genius. I think he should just kick it on the musical tip, bro. Make those bangers. And Trump, I don't know, Trump, whatever the hell Trump wants to do, let him do it, bro.
Stick to business.
Exactly. Like let him.
Not presidency.
No, hold on, Skip. Nah, I ain't with that, bro. But yeah,
No, but
hater of Trump over here.
But when it comes to the thorn, I don't know. I don't know exactly. Like, I don't feel like he meant anything by it. I just don't think it was the best. I'm not even saying that wasn't the best choice, because first of all, if you listen to the albums, they're like extremely powerful on like the Jesus tip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I've had people tell me like, oh, he's trying to be God and everything. I'm like, have you listened to these albums? Because he's telling you he's not your savior, and he's the whole Good Kid, Mad City is a story of dude trying to meet up with a girl, getting beat up, then which is him getting beat up, and then a shootout happens. Somebody on his side dies. They're gonna go retaliate, and then they come across a older woman who actually helps them to become saved. You know, that's how the later on in the album, that's what happens is she's sitting there and she's like, you guys look tired, you look thirsty, like, you know, like repeat after me, and she actually saves them all. That's something you don't hear at all. You hear people thinking God all the time, but you don't hear them going depth like that.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I still rock with him though, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do some of those things that he did, just to say the least. But I feel like the time has come. And
Put a cap on it.
Before we get out of here, do you have anything on your plate?
On your
Any
agenda
projects?
coming up?
Yes.
projects?
My song Hit My Line, HML, is being released on the 25th of October.
Okay.
And I'm super excited. It was like my first R&B creation, my baby. And yeah, it's out on all music platforms, so be sure to check it out. Stay tuned. A lot more stuff coming.
Where could they find you on like Instagram?
Instagram, Amoraa J Official. And that's for Twitter too. And what else do I have?
They're going to find you because we're going to
TikTok.
tag you
Yeah,
either
yeah,
way.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Apple Music, Spotify, all that good
Amoraa.
thing. There you go.
2 A's at the end.
There it is. All right.
All right.
And that's Boss Talk.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.